Please be seated. Friends, there's a new trend sweeping the country. Maybe it's always been a thing. I guess I've just now noticed that it's popular again. It's the thumbs down. I was talking with Sammy Mazuz the other day, and she said that when she went into my 3-year-old's class here at Heinz Preschool, he was just sitting at his desk, not eating his lunch in front of him, just frowning. And when she said, "Zeke, are you okay? Do you want to eat lunch?" he just looked at her, gave her the thumbs down. So she said, "Do you want a bagel?" And he stuck his thumbs up. He's a good Jewish kid after all. That's what people are apparently doing now. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I like this. I don't like this. Yes, no. Texas A&M. I'm just kidding. Woo! Woo! Just kidding. Woo! Woo! All right. Woo! All right. Last Sunday, we took the kids to the Texas Renaissance Festival. It was a lot of fun. It's quite a schlep to Plantersville, Texas, which is kind of northwest of Houston. And we went. It was a lot of fun, but it became apparent the kids were done. We knew it was time to hit the road. Well, this just in, Plantersville, Texas is not super equipped to handle the influx of thousands of people that swarm in on their town just for the Renfest. So getting in and out of this very tiny city can be a struggle. And there's one road that intersects a busy one-lane highway. And you have to wait forever in line to get up to it. And then you've got to turn left and go. Because this intersection is so busy, there's not a lot of brakes, and the traffic coming this way is pretty dangerous, if I say so myself. And because it's dangerous, it takes a while to go, which means that the people behind you have been waiting. They're annoyed, and sometimes they honk. It's a bad situation. So there I am with me and my family in our minivan. We have waited about 36 years to get to the front of this line, and I'm waiting for the traffic on the highway to slow down or to get a break, but there's not one. And I'm waiting, trying to find a good break in the traffic flow, but I don't see one still. And by this time, the people behind me are getting anxious. My wife is worried. The kids are starting to talk. Why have we stopped? And while I'm looking, I see it. I see the slightest break in traffic. So in a split-second decision, I decide to gun it. And I go. So I send a message with my foot to my minivan, and its response is not da-da-dun, 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 da-da. Its response is more like da-da-dun, da-da-dun. So I turn left on the highway. I'm in the left entry lane, and I know I'm not accelerating super fast. So I look in the right lane, and it's free, so I start to merge over there to gain some speed. But then I see a guy behind me in my lane. He's driving a white truck, and he is hauling tuchus. His engine is revving, flying down the highway. He is not happy that I have entered the left lane. So he tries to pass me on the right, but I was slowly merging to the right. So I pivot left, and he pivots left. He pulls in front of me, honking, super unhappy. And then he does it. He rolls down the window, sticks out his heavily tattooed arm, and gives me the thumbs down. Telling you, everybody's doing it nowadays. My first thought, I wonder if he knows that he's doing the same gesture my 3-year-old did earlier this week. Now, I may have been in the wrong. And in those situations, I can understand being flipped off. I can live with that. But the thumbs down, that really stings. If you get flipped off, it's like, up yours. But the thumbs down is like, I'm really disappointed in you. The tattooed redneck guy was really disappointed in my decision the other day. I also didn't know that giving the thumbs down was an option anymore. I thought that went off the table when Siskel and Ebert had passed on. But apparently it's back, and it's better than ever. So friends, I've decided that in honor of my being thumbs down the other day, I'm going to now give a thumbs up or thumbs down to the different parts of this week's Parshat Toldot, just to see how it holds up to the ethics of modern society. And you should know that when I pitched this idea of a sermon to my wife, she said, Jonathan, that's really dumb. So you know this is going to be good, or not. Anyways, here we go. Let's look at this Parsha act by act. Let's look at Act 1 of Toldot. We're told Jacob and Esau are born. Esau is a hunter. Jacob likes to stay at home. One day Esau comes back home from a grueling hunt and finds Jacob making a lentil stew, and he demands that his brother give him some. To which Jacob replies that he will only concede the stew if Esau swears to give him his birthright. Esau is famished, so he does so, thus causing decades of family trauma. Act 1. Okay, friends, does Act 1 get a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Well, as far as ethics goes, this is certainly not behavior I would want to endorse. If your twin brother is hungry, you feed him. You don't use his impulse for hunger to manipulate him into giving up his birthright. So unfortunately, Jacob gets a thumbs down for Act 1. All right, are we ready for Act 2? All right. I did not make this up. This is from the Torah. Isaac settles in Gerar, and when the men of Gerar ask Isaac about his beautiful wife, he said that she is his sister, out of fear that the men might kill him because of account of her. Okay? Looking out the window, their king sees Isaac fondling Rebekah. There's many translations of this word, many of them scandalous. He summons Isaac to complain that Isaac had called her his sister. That is Act 2. Friends, I don't know if I can give this act a thumbs up either. I don't know if this scene is immoral. It's certainly odd. I think I've got to give this one a thumbs down. Okay, Act 3, are we ready? This is years later. Isaac is very old. We're told he's dying. So Isaac's wife Rebekah and their son Jacob decide to deceive their father and husband and totally screw over Esau. It's apparently not enough to manipulate Esau out of his birthright. They actually have to ruin his life by swindling him out of his father's blessing as well. So they hatch a plan where Jacob literally puts on Esau's clothing and covers his arms with goat hair to replicate his brother's body hair. Isaac blesses Jacob, thinking it's Esau, asking God to give Jacob abundance, make people serve him, make him master over his brothers, curse those who curse him, and bless those who bless him. Then Esau comes in afterwards and pledges to kill his twin brother. It's Act 3. If you give this act a thumbs up, we have to talk after services. Obviously, this is a thumbs down. I don't even think Redneck Guy on the Highway would give this one a thumbs up. This is very problematic. So what do we do with these problematic characters in the Torah, Isaac and Jacob? Now, by the way, you might remember that Abraham does the same shtick with the Egyptians, where he lies and tells him that his wife is his sister. This is classic Torah shtick right there. So really, all three guys, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, are all certainly flawed. And I want to note for the record that these are the three patriarchs whom we invoke constantly. Just look at the Amida. We say their names. And so the question is, how can we invoke them in prayer when their behavior receives a thumbs down? Well, friends, I'll tell you, I think it just goes to show that God not only loves flawed people, but God chooses them to do his bidding sometimes. I mean, let's just look at Moses. Moses was a murderer. He kills an Egyptian and buries him in the sand. King David steals Bathsheba and has her husband killed when she becomes pregnant with his child to try and cover it up. And then there's their son Solomon, who had 700 wives and 300 concubines. Not a great marital standard to live up to. And yet, we call Moses Moshe Rabbeinu, our teacher. And yet the Tanakh says that King David was a man after God's own heart. And yet we call Solomon Shlomo HaChacham, Solomon the wise. You see, God takes the imperfect person and enables them to perform miracles. And if God can do that, then that means there is hope for all of us. So friends, I'm sorry if my actions on the highway disappointed you. I'm sorry your rabbi got the thumbs down. I guess I'm only human after all, but know this. If this experience has taught me anything, it's that nobody is perfect. We have all sinned, but God still loves us, and God will never give us the thumbs down. But that truck driver in Plantersville probably will. Shabbat Shalom.